Tonight on the Pioneer Sideline, we are the champions. The track and field teams win the first ever River States Conference Indoor Championship. The results and reactions.
Down to the wire. The basketball teams have 3 games left on the schedule, all coming up this week. What to look for and what's up next.
And hot commodity, which NFL player is going to get the most attention this offseason from another team.
It's time to come on down to the Pioneer Sideline.
It's championship season, and we're going to need to make some room in the trophy cases here on campus. Good evening and welcome to the Pioneer Sideline. I'm Josh Krupp.
And I'm Sarah Maculin. The River States Conference hosted its first ever indoor track and field championship Friday.
And Point Park barely left any medals for any other teams, dominating its way on the men's and women's side en route to a championship.
There's a lot to break down from this exciting day, and for that and more, we bring in Nick Kosiski.
Nick, first of all, let's start with the men, because the jumpers have been the story all season for this team, but they really impressed the rest of the conference Friday at Tiffin University.
Yeah, the men's jumpers, they really did great at conferences. The jumpers actually, they took first through fifth. They swept the jumps in the long and triple, and our jumping team just gets stronger every year, and that's for the men's and the women's side.
What about Xavier Stevens? He's been one of the top athletes in the conference all season. How did he fare at the conference championship meet, and what do you expect from him in the road ahead?
Xavier honestly felt great. You know, he did what he wanted to do. He got first in the 800 and the mile time of 4:30, which is very good, and then an 800 time of 1:59. And, you know, anything breaking that 2-minute barrier at conferences is always clutch.
And we're moving on from the men to the women's side. Now, Anna Shields, of course, 10 first place winners overall for the women on this past weekend. So can you go along the lines of what Anna Shields did and what other surprises there were this weekend?
Anna Shields did she got first place in her events, and then also the women's DMR and the women's 4x4, they have been, you know, insanely good. Both of them are going to nationals, the 4x4 team and the DMR team.
And Anna getting the #1 time in the country in the 600. What an outstanding presence she has been. Give me some other names from the women. Who else impressed besides Anna Shields? There are a lot of young athletes on this team who have been really impressive this year, but Anna really stealing the headlines. Who else?
Well, to start, I'm going here. Let me think of the 4x4, which is Anna Shields, Erica Hansard, Kemi Albankinro, and then Reba Bartram, and then the DMR. Anna Shields again, Erica Hansard again, but then they also have Kayla Roberts and Alyssa Boyd. So all those names, you know, they've been getting better throughout the season, and for them to all go nationals, it's insane.
So there's one more week before nationals, Nick. Who qualifies that hasn't qualified yet?
Chance Callahan, I believe this is going to be his first year at nationals, so I bet he's excited, and that's for the jumps. Also, the women's 4x4 and DMR, they are all psyched, I'm sure. But I'm sure still Sean Berry, Dry Davis, and Anna Shields, and this is also Ana Benitez's first time too, so that's exciting. But even the people who already went, they're still as much as excited as the people who are first going.
Well, thanks a lot, Nick. I'm really hoping to see Xavier qualify friend of the program. Anna, of course, has been dominating all season, so hopefully we get some more qualifiers this weekend. Final meet for the track and field teams is at Kent State University. Then they go to Pittsburgh, Kansas for nationals. Well, thanks a lot again, Nick. We turn to the hardwood on the home stretch coming up next.
But the home stretch involves 3 games on the road in 5 days, beginning tonight.
One basketball team looks for redemption. The other looks for something positive to take away from 2018. All that and more coming up next.
T. Why should you watch and focus?
Because, why not?
Turn. Why should you watch and focus? Because I produce it.
Welcome to In Focus.
Hello.
This is so we don't run out of time.
Put up a goal just
Right.
because it.
And a little bit closer, please. Let me bring this in. I wanted to do a game. So
Game time. All right.
game over.
Yay.
Oh wow! Did we get that?
There he is. Why are you watching Focus? Why are you watching Focus? Because in Focus is great. Chris! Game time! Game time! It's not game time. It's a promo.
Start your morning with us. I'm your host, Jess Paterchek.
And I'm your host, Alex Groves.
Good morning and welcome to another episode
That is what
of
happened at the
Daybreak. I'm your
cathedral
host,
on
Jess
Monday.
Paterchek.
The state wants to
This
take
Monday.
$357 million out of a trust fund that is typically devoted.
mixed stuff could get me. I'm gonna care for you, you.
What up? The diva himself. Only on Daybreak.
55% of all U.S. multiracial adults have been subjected to racial slurs or jokes.
Where were you born? Being smart, pale, for a Filipino, to go back to Mexico.
There goes that black boy over there. You like fried chicken because you're light skinned. You are a cop. You think that you're better than us. The N-word.
They're good at jumping or climbing. Border hopper. Made taco. English your second language. Where's your green card?
Cut the jokes, stop the stereotypes.
Welcome back. The women's basketball team had a strong showing last week across town at Carlow University.
Yes, Sarah, it was the last time the Point Park Pioneers will be this close to home during the regular season anyways, and tonight a critical stretch of 3 games in 5 days on the road begins at Rio Grande.
And with playoff positioning on the line, we bring in Allison Schubert to break down where the Pioneers stand entering this week.
Speaking of standings, Allison, first, let's check out the conference standings. Can you tell us what Point Park is facing in this tough road ahead beginning tonight with a lot of road games? And you see the standings on your screen. The first of those games coming tonight against Rio Grande. What does Point Park have to do to kind of climb up in the standings?
Well, a win tonight at Rio would be absolutely huge. Right now, only half of a game separates second from third and third from fourth. So we're looking at Rio Grande has the clear lead in first right now. They're 14-1 in River State's conference play, 26-2 overall. Then comes IU East at 11-4, Point Park at 10-4, and WVU at 10-5 each respectively in River State's conference play. So coming up with a schedule ahead, definitely some big wins they need to crank out, especially this one at Rio would be a huge boost to Point Park.
Now, some big players in the last few games. Who's really stepped up in this final stretch? Carlo, a big game from a few players, but one in particular has shined all season.
Yeah, for sure. Sam Weir has been huge for the team, and we were talking on our radio show actually earlier this week that Sam Weir's probably been the MVP of this season so far. She's been absolutely huge for this team. She hasn't produced, well, she has produced a lot on offense, but it's the production that she does on defense that has really allowed her to really step up into this big role for the team, getting a bunch of blocks for the team, getting a bunch of rebounds, and that's what's really made her stand out. Michelle Burns has also been a huge name for this team, putting up point after point, and she's been someone they can rely on a lot throughout the season.
Now, we have some breaking news here on the program. Rio Grande just fell to Point Park 89-86. So your first reactions on that, that's a huge win.
Oh, definitely. I mean, earlier in the season when they played Rio Grande, they would have liked to have that game back,
Right.
a 2-point loss. And I mean, Rio Grande, they've only been beat twice all season, so that's a huge, huge win for Point Park.
So you just said that would be a huge win. We get that. What is next?
That, you just said it, is a huge win for Point Park. That's only the second time Rio's been beaten in River State's conference play so far this season. They got that revenge that they were looking for, and that's going to increase their confidence so much going into an Ohio Christian team they already beat, and then to go look for that revenge against WVU Tech too. So this has been a huge win for them, and that's going to boost them incredibly into the rest of the season.
Thanks a lot, Allison. Let's take a deeper look at that schedule ahead as we transition over to the men's side of things. Now, Sarah, all 3 of these games on your screen are down and back trips. They're traveling and coming back on the same day, and players also have to have classes to worry about in between all of these games.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to juggle. And Thursday's game against Ohio Christian wasn't originally on the schedule. It's a makeup from the snow day earlier in the season. And then Saturday's game against West Virginia Tech was supposed to be a home game. So it's kind of all jumbled here. here late in the season with these road games. But it's really important that women get a win here.
And either way, this is how things stand as we go into the week. And perhaps the last chance for the men to get a win on the season as we flip over to that side. Both teams travel together. The men, the last chance, perhaps, against Carlo. Let's bring in Taylor Sprito now. Taylor, how do the men fare against the Carlo Celtics up there at Oakland Catholic High School?
You know what? Just when you thought things couldn't get worse for this team, they lost to Carlo. Like you said, possibly their last chance to win for the season, 93-72. But that wasn't their only loss of the night. They lost leading scorer Daniel King to injury. They lost Fusini Kanate, the leading rebounder, to a concussion. They were both game time decisions. As far as I know, they're not going to be playing tonight, so that was a huge loss for them, and that really influenced their loss to Carlo. Even though they were only down by 4 points at the half, they just couldn't finish, ended up losing. But they had some players step up, so that was a positive. But again, it wasn't the outcome that they were expecting and hoping for.
And losing Fusini and losing Daniel, both game time decisions tonight. We'll see if they're able to come back. Sarah, who are you looking for? And maybe you'll get Taylor's thoughts too. Who are you looking for to step up? Who else is left?
I mean, that's exactly the thing. There's really no one else left to step up. I mean, Gavin's clearly done all he can. And, I mean, if Daniel and Fusini don't play, I mean, I'd like to see a little bit from Mark Shahady, see those younger guys step up. But at this point, it's going to be hard to get a win.
Taylor, Rashawn Roberts, let me ask you about him. He is also known as Huncho Nitty here on campus. He's a rapper. He's been fantastic. And he goes up to Carlo and puts up career highs in points and rebounds. And he transferred here from Carlo. So he has been a bright spot. He's also a senior. So these guys that are seniors, you know, they're still giving it their all, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, he really stepped up. He actually took over the leading rebounder title from Fusini because Fusini wasn't in the game. Same thing with Rajapale. He took over the leading scorer for the game, posting a career-high 32 points. You know, they've really been stepping it up, and with their senior season, they obviously really wanted that to happen, just taking over that and showing that they could really pull out at least their best, you know, obviously not the best for the team, but at least their personal best.
So finally, Taylor, 3 more games starting tonight at Rio. What can they do in these last 3 games? They need to get a win, right?
They really just need to, not to quote High School Musical, but to keep their head in the game. Sorry.
That's perfect.
I mean, it's a basketball movie, so it works. But they really need to. Like I said, they were only down by 4 points in the half. And, you know, they could have kept that going and kept producing those points, but they really just couldn't finish the game. So they just need to start doing that, and they could pull out either a close loss or a win. Who knows?
Oh, let's keep our head in the game. A High School Musical reference. Hopefully the men.
To live by there.
Oh, for sure. Thank you so much, Taylor. Coming up next, we mentioned the track and field teams earning medals earlier in the broadcast, but the first medals of the 2018 Winter Olympics are already getting handed out.
And ahead, we'll break down the winter games so far and what we can expect in the coming weeks. Don't go anywhere.
Was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be.
Spending just 7 minutes climbing stairs each day cuts your risk of a heart attack in half over 10 years. Sure, elevators are convenient, but you burn twice the number of calories just going upstairs than you do while jogging. Think about how long you spend waiting for elevators. The average person spends the equivalent of 2 years waiting for elevators over the course of their lifetime. Don't let that be you. Save time and increase energy. Next time, take the stairs.
Let's go. Ow.
Five, four,
three.
Sideline!
Welcome back. The Winter Olympics are underway from South Korea.
And the first medals of the games to the U.S. have gone to athletes born in this century. After 2000, that's crazy. And for all of the details in that regard and more, let's send it over to Megan Masiosi. Megan?
Thanks, guys. Most 17-year-olds are taking the SATs for the first time, or they're preparing for their first prom. But not Red Gerard. The Colorado native became the first U.S. athlete to win gold in the slopestyle snowboarding competition at the Winter Olympics. His winning run included 3 twists, a flip, and finished with a backside triple cork, and he stuck the landing. His first 2 runs, he stumbled on the landing due to his nerves, but when the pressure was on, he rose to the challenge. He finished with an 87.16 and became the youngest U.S. snowboarder to win gold. Gerard will compete later this week in the big air competition. But the men aren't the only ones winning gold. Women's slopestyle snowboarding took place early Monday morning after it was postponed Sunday afternoon due to high winds. However, the women were competing against weather conditions more than each other after it was delayed another 75 minutes Monday morning. Instead of 3 jumps, the women each got 2 due to the high winds, and Jamie Anderson reached the podium and earned another gold medal, giving the U.S. 2 gold medals in 2 days. Anderson's first run was a simple backside 540, but on her winning run, she ran into trouble. Anderson said, quote, "I wanted to do a double 9 on my first run, and I went for it and realized I wasn't going to clear the jumps. Somehow I connected with my lion power and found feet," end quote. Anderson won with a score of 83, finishing a full 6 points above the rest of the competitors. Anderson will compete in the big air competition later this week. From the slopes to the ice track, Chris Masder became the first U.S. man to win an Olympic medal in singles luge. Luge consists of 4 runs, and Masder made up in the final 2. On his 3rd run, he had set a new record on the track, solidifying his spot to earn a medal. He conquered the hardest curve on the track with ease and slid into 2nd place to win silver and give Team USA another medal.
Now, Megan, somebody else that gave the U.S. a medal that is winning the hearts and minds of the United States is Chloe Kim, another 17-year-old. Let me read to you what she tweeted last night in between her runs. She said, wish I finished my breakfast sandwich, but my stubborn self decided not to, and now I'm getting hangry. The girl was getting hangry, and then she won a gold medal. Chloe Kim has been so fun to watch so far.
Yeah, absolutely. She won the gold medal on the half pipe, just to be exact. But I was cracking up that she had tweeted that first. I mean, these kids are so pure for the 17. They got thrust into the spotlight, but she actually scored a 93.75 on her first run. A Chinese runner was very close behind her. She would have beat her if she would have stuck the landing, but she didn't. But Chloe Kim said on her final run, she wanted to go for a perfect score, but instead she ended up with a 98. But in my opinion, that's not that bad. 17, you got a 98 and a gold medal. What a trophy to add to the case.
Yes, Megan, and for sure these Olympics so far have been entertaining for the U.S. Now, what does our medal count look like now with these recent victories?
Well, we have 6 total medals. We have 3 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze. But there's many more events coming, and the U.S. is just getting started.
Well, thanks a lot, Megan. And coming up after the break, the NFL season is officially over. And that means it's time for a new season, the off-season.
We'll debate which player is the hottest commodity this offseason and which faces could land in new places when we kick off again. We'll be right back.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
one word to describe CAB.
Welcoming.
Community.
Creative.
Experiences.
Family. Openness. Pineapple.
The Campus Activities Board is a student-run organization that consists of 7 different committees. Each focuses on event planning, marketing, and administrative activities. Join us in organizing the juiciest events on campus, from late-night bingo to festive dances to our team bonding meetings. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Point Park Cap, or like us on Facebook at Campus Activities Board at Point Park University.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. I'm Josh Troop alongside Jess Paterchak.
Defending his decision to kick out 15 Cuban diplomats from the United States.
Thanks, Allison. Fitness on Demand has returned to Point Park.
Residents fear that Mount Agung will have a repeat of 1963's eruption.
2-star NFL quarterbacks made the headlines this week after wrapping up.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. That's your news tonight. For Nick Tomarello, I'm Alex Grubbs. Have a great night.
Welcome back. There are a lot of big names that could get moved to different cities next year, and we've already seen a few moves to start this early days of the offseason.
So who's the hottest commodity this offseason? Let's debate.
It's time for the case of the week, and for the NFL this week, we turn to Mike Turk, Megan Masiosi, and Aaron Becker. Guys, let's start off with your most surprising move early on. There have been a couple moves, but Aaron, what stood out to you early on in this offseason?
The move that surprised me the most was Alex Smith heading to Washington. Now they have Patrick Mahomes. He's entering his second year now, but Alex Smith was their franchise quarterback for a while, and he took them to the playoffs this year. Right. So I was shocked to see him go, but it looks like they want the Patrick Mahomes era to start now. So.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's the biggest surprise so far this offseason. Let's turn it over to Mike and come back this way. Who is the hottest commodity that you're looking at this offseason? It can be somebody who's a free agent or somebody that might get traded for. We could also even say somebody who might retire, because there have been a couple names like that flying out. Mike, who's the hottest commodity?
I think the big name that's been around the offseason the past couple years has to be Kirk Cousins with the Washington Redskins. Now with the addition of Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins is going to be going somewhere and getting a very big paycheck coming up soon. Where is he going? We don't know yet, so it's going to be very interesting to find out.
Do you want him in Pittsburgh?
I would love to have him if Ben would have retired after this year, obviously. I think anybody would, but no, he won't be coming to Pittsburgh.
Now, this has been in talks for a couple years now with the Kirk Cousins trade talk rumors. Where do you think he might go? Obviously, we kind of ruled out maybe not Pittsburgh, but do you have any?
Well, you've had a former Super Bowl MVP trying to recruit him out to Denver, and I think that would be a great fit with him. You got Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. I still love Emmanuel Sanders. I'm so upset he left. But he's got some good talent out there in Denver. He might be going out there.
Megan, hottest commodity.
As much as I wanted to say Kirk Cousins, there's so much drama surrounding it that I'm going to go with Case Keenum. I really think he proved himself. Yes, I know he lost the NFC Championship game, but he did show enough. He came in week 2. I feel like last season Bradford had his chance to show what he could do. And yes, they started off 5-0, but he wasn't that great. So I think Case Keenum, if I was the Vikings, I would definitely stick with him. If not, I think another team should be interested in him.
Now, we just finished up a Super Bowl in which a backup quarterback led his team to victory. So, in Nick Foles. So you have Carson Wentz, who's going to be back and presumably healthy from his ACL. What do you see happening there?
With Nick Foles?
In Philadelphia, yeah.
Honestly, I could see Nick Foles retiring. He is older. He was already considering it before this season. He knows Carson Wentz is the guy there. I think he just does what everyone else does. He retires, goes out on top, gets a Super Bowl win.
Aaron, Mike, do you guys have any comments on that?
I think Nick Foles isn't going to retire. I think he's going to stay in Philly, though. He's already commented on this, that he just won a Super Bowl with Philly. That's his team, and he's okay with being the backup role. He's a fantastic backup quarterback. He just won them the Super Bowl. And, we've seen every season in the NFL, injuries happen all the time. And not to say Carson Wentz is going to get a season-ending injury again, or say he is out 1 or 2 games from a smaller injury, but you never know what can happen. And he proved himself that he's a fantastic quarterback for that backup role.
Who's your hottest commodity this offseason?
Okay, I'm going to have to go with Kirk Cousins as well, but there's 3 players that I was looking at that I think are higher commodities, but I think they're going to stick with their teams. First one's Jimmy Garoppolo. He just became the highest paid player in the NFL history. We're now 5 years, $137.5 million.
It's Jimmy football. Yeah.
So he's sticking with the 49ers. Then you got Drew Brees. He's already commented to fans, however, that they have nothing to worry about and he's going to be a Saint.
Right.
He's going to retire as a New Orleans Saint, I have a feeling. And they have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl next year as well. They have a fantastic defense, and they're continuing to have playmakers on that offense. And then the number 3 player was Le'Veon Bell. Now, there is a chance this guy becomes a free agent. The Steelers and him have been in talks since the end of last season, but I think I would be personally shocked if the Steelers let this guy go. But then there's other guys like Deion Lewis who could replace him, but other than that, it's Kirk Cousins. This guy's 29 years old. He's played 6 seasons, entering his 7th. He's passed for over 4,000 yards in the 3 seasons that he started, all 16 games. Passed for 81 touchdowns, rushed for 13, 97.6 quarterback rating average. So this guy, he's a franchise quarterback, and Alex Smith just took over his role in Washington. So I'm excited to see where he heads and what he can do for his future team.
Rob Gronkowski. Is he going to retire? Yes or no from all of you? Start with Mike.
No, I think that's false, but you can understand his reasoning behind it. That dude has been banged up for years.
Right.
You can't tackle that guy without going for his knees down there like that. That's the only way you can bring that big dude down. I think he's also had issues with concussions, but I don't think he's going to retire. I think he just enjoys the game too much to begin with. And when you play with Tom Brady, come on, you know you're going to be competing for a championship every year. Who doesn't want to have a Gronk dance party again?
I could see him retiring. He has had a lot of the injury bug the last 3 or 4 seasons, so he's a big man. Like you said, you're going to go for his knees, you're going to go for his head, and he has a family to think about. So you see, I mean, Jason Worlds did it a couple years ago with the Steelers. He was in his prime, but he retired because he didn't want to take any more injuries. So I could see Gronk retiring.
I personally don't think he's going to retire. Tom Brady's still playing at quarterback in New England, so as long as you are playing for one of the greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of all time, it's going to be hard to step away from the game. He has had the injury bug over the last few years, but I think what he said after the Super Bowl was a little bit in emotion. The entire Patriots team was a little emotional after that game because they didn't expect to lose that game. But no, I don't think he's going to retire. I do think he's going to have to talk with his family a little bit, like he did say, but I think every NFL player does that after every season, but I don't see this guy walking away yet.
Yeah, Turk, you mentioned he likes playing football too much. He likes partying. I mean, he's a fun-loving guy. I don't see him quitting out on a sport that he loves so much just because of injury. I mean, we've seen the injury bug plague a lot of people and them be able to come back.
Does anyone have one name that we're not talking about to look at for this offseason?
Yeah, I'll go with Jarvis Landry, wide receiver, Miami Dolphins. Kind of hides there under the radar. Never played with a real good quarterback. Ryan Tannehill, Jay Cutler this past year. Jarvis Landry has really good hands. If you watch him in, I know you guys don't watch the Pro Bowl skills competitions, but I do because I'm interested in it. He's fast. He's 25. He's got good hands. He's Antonio Brown built. I think he can be a top 3 receiver if he plays with a good quarterback.
He can
personally,
play dodgeball too. I mean,
he did play dodgeball. Yeah,
you
you
did
did watch.
so.
You did watch.
I'm going to stick with quarterbacks. I'm going to go with Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think he fits the Viking system well, but I could see him going out of Tampa Bay because Jameis Winston is just not getting it done. So I could see Bridgewater going there and finding a home with the Buccaneers.
And I'm going to go with another receiver, not Jarvis Landry, but I think he's a fantastic player as well. The receiver for the Jaguars, Allen Robinson, he's coming off of an ACL tear. When this guy's on the field, he's one of the biggest playmakers in the NFL. He's a younger player, and the cap space is running out for the Jags, so I think they're going to let him walk, and I think he's going to be another exciting player to watch if he has a good quarterback.
Well, thank you guys all for coming so prepared today. That was a lot of names, a lot of commodities. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode here.
Be sure to join us next week at the same Pioneer time.
The same Pioneer channel.
And the same Pioneer Sideline.